Is Thursday, the 27th of October, 2016. And today's blog is about language and how it's used to create artificial limitations in the minds of the majority of humans on this planet. Before I start into this theme, I would like to talk about Timothy Leary. Now, most people know that Timothy Leary was famous for being a guru of using LSD for expanding one's mind. He was a psychiatrist actually, a very good one. And he was getting such good results with his research with LSD on psychiatric patients that the CIA discovered that this is something we can use and we want to have a monopoly on. So they demonized the man, and by putting a small amount of marijuana in his car, he was arrested and charged, found guilty, to serve, I think it was a 20-year term life sentence in prison for half a joint of marijuana, where he died. Timothy Leary created a model of human development, and he used a wonderful metaphor of movement from the all-consuming larva to the butterfly, which does no harm. And in a long film series, I think it was done with Alan Watts, Alan explains the model very clearly, and he points out the fact that in the transition of humanity from the position of caterpillar or larva to the butterfly, there's a last hurdle that needs to be challenged and met with success. And that is to get out of the trap where language is used to hold you down. And this is where my theme today comes into play. And I'm going to do that by showing you exactly how it's done. Everyone has heard the last 10 or so years that radicalism and extremists are more or less associated with nothing else than terrorism and horrific deeds done by humans, eating people's hearts, chopping off their heads, killing children, pedophilia, or whatever. And the government is very, very worried that certain individuals can be radicalized and become very dangerous. What this is all about is to keep humans into a box that I call normalization. Psychiatry, for example, is based on the statistical norm of human performance. If you're outside of that norm, then there's a diagnosis for you waiting. And of course, you can always be treated with some sort of chemicals to get back to normal. Now, I'm going to show you a statistical curve right here. And if you notice, there are two different ends to the curve, which is normal here. You have extremely bad behavior and extremely fantastic, wonderful behavior. And you have the normal in the middle where most people reside. And when you think of it using critical thinking, normal is nothing other than mediocrity. Democracy is the rule of mediocrity. The majority always wins. Now, there's a problem with that, and that is that the majority doesn't like to take responsibility for being outside of the box of being normal. Because most people being normal means also being one-sided rational, conflicted, confused, fragmented from their emotional intelligence, which is under some sort of strong control. And because no human can ever get into the extraordinary realm outside of normal, I'm talking about the good side of the performance curve now, when they are in internal or external competition or both, and because the one-sided rational mind exalts, rewards, and demands competition, they only think of extremism of being right here. Here's where the terrorist lives. Here's where the poor live. But what about the people here? The people that are intelligent, that are stretching out to reach their potential, that can show other people that if I can do it, you can do it. So normalization, in the political correct sense of the word, is nothing other than some sort of mental disease. And by demonizing the word extremism and radicalization as a negative thought, will keep you from extending yourself outside of the box of normal, which is a form of limitation where you're doing your own repression. And this is how they're using language to hold you back. Because the one-sided rational mind equates words with reality. There's another thing with this also, words that I'll talk about in my next blog, I think. We'll be getting to being politically correct in the sense of regulating your thoughts by making laws against things like hate speech, racialism, being called a racist, or a supremacist, in any sense of the word. We live in a world of dualities where each and every interpretation of language can lead to something positive or negative. And it can also be twisted and distorted and misused. And in the world of rational thinking, This is more or less the norm than the exception. Thank you for that. And with that, I'll say goodbye for today.